everything and reliably gives you very little, sadly. But when he does pop off, when he does find his moments, he is ludicrously strong in team fights, ludicrously strong on side lane as well if you can get any kind of lead.
So right now, looking at FlyQuest composition, it feels like what they're trying to do is play between mid and bot lane by trying to have push priority or push pressure in that lane. Likewise, with a Blitzcrank, there is the potential that you see a spicy level 1 coming out of FlyQuest to early split the map for Lilia. And then Gnar, if he is playing a weak side Gnar and solo, doesn't get a lot of attention, can be very safe. You know, range top laner, has the hop to get away. Yes, they have a lot of skirmish potential and a lot of potential for follow-up on this Graves.
All right, well, we're coming in a little bit late, folks. Normally, I don't mind, you know, a little 40-second action, but we missed a little bit of context on the bottom side. It would appear that a ward was placed and spotted out. Now, TES are moving into the top side. They have less members. FlyQuest looking to respond. And of course, if you've been following Worlds so far, you know how crucial, how important level 1s can be. So a single piece of vision, spotting out and denying a hook coming in from Ignar is a big deal.
I do like this level 1 being set up, however. You know, maybe this is a rogue-esque level 1 where they just try to burn Knight's flash early on or pick up the kill there by walking into the lane, or it's a delay invade on the Raptor camp. You'd already talked about the wards, Draco, so you can see that TES have played a... That sounds so weird to say.
TES.
TES have played a ward on the Raptor camp, so they get vision of this, and we'll see what the response is. It looks like it's going to be a collapse. Here comes Graves across mid lane. They're going to fight for this.
And the ward here, very easy for TES to predict. This would be relevant. Keep our eyes, though, on where the damage is going to go. That's going to be a flash forward. That's going to be a taunt onto 2. Do they win out in the sustained fight, though? Because Santorin is already level 2, and he does so much sustained damage. Still a squishy little Bambi action there, though, so he's going to have to back off. Yandro now running for the life, going through, and that's going to be first blood coming in for FlyQuest. An excellent start. TES didn't have to contest there, but they chose to anyway.
And you see the power of, you know, what happens is not just about the fact that Lilia does the Raptor camp so fast, you look for the delayed invade. It's about abusing that level 2 that you saw there. Is TES do manage to get the patience to I hate it. Top Esports managed to get the patience reset from the red buff, so Jackie Love is going to help Karsa at least get his primary buff, but you might say damage done, especially because Wild Turtle and Ignar are getting first to this wave right now.
And getting level 2 early on this lane is a very big deal. Now, of course, important to know that Jackie Love did hold on to his flash, but that said, Yuanja is going to be very vulnerable here on the bottom side of the map. A single hook connects, which should be easy to do so if you could just flash, go for the power fist to kick things off. That is a decent amount of kill pressure bottom side.
I want to talk about this Santorin pathing, because it's ending up being a split map anyway, and I don't know if it necessarily had to be, because he had priority with Wild Turtle and Ignar. We talked about getting to the lane first, the fact that, you know, you have flash still on your Blitzcrank. Now they're letting the wave slowly, not necessarily push in, because it's even right now. In fact, the cannon's probably going to kill those and turn on the cannon. Oh, no, now it'll slowly push back. But the fact is that Karsa went red and then walked across, and I don't think he was spotted out by vision. You now see a red ping go down on the Grob camp, so it tells me that FlyQuest assume that Karsa is in their jungle, but I don't know. We'll see how it pans out. I'm a little bit curious. I was like, yeah. I think you could have denied more from Karsa there rather than prioritizing early rotation off of your Raptor camps. I mean, if Santorin decides to power farm, then maybe it's worth it if he gets second rotation of Raptors into his own Raptors again and starts creating an EXP lead, but I think he loses a lot of pressure for his bot lane.
And as we see Power of Evil sustain some of his own pressure in the mid lane, I think it's a really good thing that you bring up Frostgrove, because splitting the map like this, while it certainly has given Santorin what feels like a pretty decent jungle advantage, or would look to, but Graves right now at least clearing some camps out much quicker. At the end, though, when all is said and done, there will be more camps available for Santorin. This is essentially isolated solo, and that's definitely not bad for solo in the early game, but there was an opportunity, it feels like, for Fly to try to break the bot lane matchup rather than trying to weather the storm. As we see, the hook does land. Maybe they can't get a little bit more damage down. The sidestep, that is not the binding you were looking for. Turtle and Ignar coming in clutch, trying to play this one out. A little bit of confidence. Power Fist goes in, Trap goes down, and now the lane. Wild Turtle, 2 kills up. He needs to back and spend that money.
Yeah, he is a very wealthy Ashe right now. Ignar coming up clutch, in my opinion, right there. Obviously, when the wave is close to the tower, it makes Blitzcrank that much more dangerous. His ability to pull you under tower aggro. Now, while Lux didn't take any of the tower shots right there, the threat is always going to be available. So, catching TES off guard a little bit with a nice hook, as we're now entering second jungle rotation. So, Santorin is teaming up with his mid laner to try to get Knight a reset here. Wow, Santorin. Karsa. I'm so used to seeing Santorin on blue side for some reason. It's really messing with me. I think it's because TES's logo was red, so I'm like, oh yes, TES on red side.
I just feel like the second you said TES instead of Top Esports, you like doomed yourself.
I thought,
you let it go.
We've already tilted.
There it is. But at this point of the game, FlyQuest off to a fantastic start. And the big thing is here is that ultimately this win for FlyQuest is for pride, is for proving themselves, but for TES this one is very important because at this point, it's really feeling like it all comes down to the final game of the day, TES versus DRX. Now, if DRX are able to come in and win that game, they'll force the tiebreaker. But if TES lose here and DRX are able to win later in the day, then the winner of that game wouldn't even get a tiebreaker. DRX could just go directly through without having to play it, having a better game score. So that would be a bit of a catastrophic mistake for TES to give up any kind of game here.
It's about discipline and remaining in form to you know, have the crescendo, if you will, of that final game and so many stakes put onto it to secure a first seed as we see Karsa moving in to maybe play with Solo a little bit.
They're anticipating the teleport and they want to force the dive. He has Summoner Spellbook. He can swap to a combat sum. They can immediately force on the back of Urgot level 6. They're committing another TP as well. They want to kill this Gnar before he hits 6, but he just hit 6 and that means the Gnar is available. If he plays this well, it's actually very hard for TES to do anything. They have to be patient on this one. TES thinking they had the level 5 advantage, but that's the Gnar back into the wall, right into the tower. Now Knight is tanking him, he's gonna flash into safety. Solo making it out of this one. TES were not ready for that Gnar ultimate.
Yeah, beautifully played there by Solo. Comes back with the Ninja Tabi as well, and even though they pull Knight, look at how many waves he sacked in the mid lane, as well as giving priority for power available to make this rotation here. So Knight using his TP up top side, getting chunked out, means that TES are gonna lose their Krub camp, they're gonna lose play on bot lane, and probably lose 2 waves on mid.
Oh, and this is massive for FlyQuest, because when their composition has a lead, it's so much easier to play out. This Ashe, this Blitzcrank, Santorin starting to pull ahead in jungle XP. Very easy for them to kick fights off, whereas the Caitlyn Lux, if they're trapped under a tower, those champions are useless.
Just about spell flinging. This also does give access for Santorin onto this Infernal Drake if he wants to start it. I would hope that he returns to his jungle, though.
Another ping out, though. TES, they've kept the momentum up. They're not looking to stop now. Justice Punch forward, but Power of Evil staying calm, cool, and collected as he just looks to match this mid-wave pressure. Karsa sticking around for now. The first dragon of the game is now set to go over to the side of FlyQuest. 2,500 gold, 7 minutes into the game. If you told me it was TES, I would have believed you without looking. You tell me it's FlyQuest, I want to know more. And right now the story is bottom lane competency and Solo holding on even against 3 people on the top side of the map.
And frankly, it's FlyQuest skill checking TES, not just with like the macro movements. Like that was nice in the early level invade, how they split the map. But you know, Solo coming up clutch there to absorb so much pressure from top esports when they tried to execute onto the dive. And then just a really good follow-up on FlyQuest to read the situation that they put too many members topside and we can happen bot.
Ooh, Galio is going to make it out, but is forced to use ult defensively nonetheless. Now, whenever we look at champions like Twisted Fate, Galio, Shen, we always talk about how important those early ults are for impacting the map. And that one, of course, going to be used up, going to be forced out as a defensive option, making Power of Evil's life that much easier in the coming plays.
It also makes Karsa's life that much harder because he needs to be, obviously that ultimate is so important when he does want to find these skirmishes. So the question that I have for FlyQuest at this point is if they want to swap to try onto an early Herald. Now you can see that Karsa is currently sitting on the Herald, has gone over the wall, but you have such a strong advantage in terms of itemization on Turtle versus JackeyLove. So maybe you sit down here with Turtle, he's now just ticked over to level 6, and then you swap him, or FlyQuest just dissuade you from taking an early Herald and try to hold these lanes for as long as possible since they are winning in the 1v1s and the 2v2s.
Yeah, things overall going quite well. Obviously, Tabby on the top side just to mitigate some of Urgot's potential damage. Additionally, just movement speed to dip, duck, and dodge your way around the shotgun legs there is certainly going to help out. But Karsa canceling his own back here as he now wants to return to the top side. This is a bit of a long con play. It's going to be a lot of wasted time if this does not go in the favor of top esports. But that's going to be the whip, and definitely not the one that they were looking for. Now, Boomerang isn't going to be back up for Solo. He's not able to pick it. Throws out the 10 icon, says try again, but the Urgot ult, that's going to be it. Pull him back in. Oh, God, it's still just as gruesome, even if it's the Pajama Guardian.
Oh, well, Solo... Oh, excuse me, 369 did get the last laugh ultimately. Solo with the little camper, like, come on, guys. Give me your best shot. And even though 369 whiffs the flash, he nails the ultimate. Now, with that information, again, FlyQuest, we'll see what they set up on the bot side of the map. And it looks like very well recognized by JackeyLove to say, no.
Oh.
This is the only play that they have available to them, so we're just going to go ahead, not reveal ourselves, and walk back into it. Santorin says, okay. Back to hard farming, still creating a massive CS lead. Look at it. Gnar, Lilia, massive for Power of Evil, as well as in Wild Turtle. Across every single lane, FlyQuest are winning in the CS numbers.
Absolutely good. I think you can't help but have this feeling in the back of your mind, though, seeing the way that TES have played this entire tournament so far, that something could go wrong at any moment, that all it takes is a single play from TES to turn it on its head. But for now, FlyQuest in complete control, and they're looking to find the pick here on tonight. The taunt coming in, but he's just going to get shuffled right back. Easy use of the Emperor's Divide coming in from Power of Evil.
Very nicely done and very patient now, as here comes 369.
369 walking forward. It's going to be a slow fight. Sandstorm dodging around the side of the pit. If any CC does manage to connect, and it does, he's going to be in trouble. Very squishy still on the Lilia this early in the game. So Karsa's going to grab that one, and it looks like Herald will go over to TES as well. But in the meantime, Wild Turtle looking to break down this bot lane tier 1 tower.
At least getting something for FlyQuest on the map right there. Patient from both teams. It was the fact that TES showed up with more members at the end of the day because Turtle did remain into that bot lane picking up those plates. Still going to be very slow here for Karsa.
Break that one down as the eye goes through, but of course it looks like doesn't want to use the smite quite on that one until he's absolutely forced to. Turtle will break the first tower of the game, 610 additional gold going in his pocket, and note the build as well. Essence Reaver first for this Ashe going to be coming out, so a lot of arrows, a lot of engage opportunities for the side of FlyQuest.
And we'll keep tabs on Wild Turtle if he goes for like the full raw damage build, the Essence Reaver into the Infinity Edge, or if he pivots for more of an attack speed post Essence Reaver as it's now been completed. I love an Essence Reaver Eye Edge build. I think it also helps when you're trying to kind of beat out Caitlyn's power curve. Obviously, she does have that lull point because there's no steroids built into her kit. She relies on attack speed.
Yeah, and of course, the additional thing about Ashe is that if you're able to just land an arrow onto the Caitlyn, normally the difficulty is getting in touching distance of Caitlyn, but once you're close enough to Caitlyn, the slows keep her close. She has to burn everything to get away from you, so it does certainly help make the job easier. Whereas Blade of the Rune King, as nice as it is, be a little bit more difficult to find those 1v1s.
I think it's nice too because obviously with a Bork it would help you burn down the likes of the Galio and the Urgot, but when you have an Azir, you don't necessarily have to be that responsible for killing the tanks because you can let Azir do a lot of that work for you, as well as Solo up here on the Gnar.
Solo going to take a decent chunk of damage, but of course already has some Ninja Tabby, so a little auto attack from Harass from Jackie Love isn't going to hurt him too badly. Solo doing a very good job holding on at this point in the game, but the question for me is where does 369 go? He's got the Summer Spellbook, and right now it's Ghost Ignite. And there's certainly a lot of kill pressure from base numbers alone coming in from this Urgot, especially when you add a Black Cleaver to the mix, whereas Solo hasn't had an opportunity to back yet, so still hurting for a major item completion.
Yeah, so 369, interesting lane assignments, picking up bot lane while you see that Knight is actually pushed up and facing Wild Turtle as Herald is dropped down behind the Caitlyn. That makes sense. You want to try to funnel as many plates as possible into her, but here's a potential dive.
Santorin going to be in trouble here, though, because once again, he is very, very squishy. And that is going to be Venison for the side of TES. Easy finish out on that one. And Solo might just be another name on tonight's dinner menu as he's going to get poked out as well. Karsa with the blast to the face. And it's already starting to look a little bit rougher for FlyQuest.
Oh, it's Venison and Squirrel. It's very different palettes here.
Oh, that's tough. And for FlyQuest, you can see what they wanted to do. They wanted to punish Knight. They wanted to make sure that this Galio did not get to play League of Legends. The good news is they have enough of a lead overall that they can still get a Constellation Drake on the back of that one. But it does mean giving up some of the gold advantage that they worked so hard to build up earlier on.
Yeah, but now they've got 2 dragons. The next one will be in about 18 minutes. So you're looking at a potential of a 23-minute soul, which is obviously going to feel really nice for FlyQuest because A, they spike really well on 2 items and then continue to spike really well. They have tons of scaling potential for them. So while the last exchange, you know, kind of looked like it was traded 1-for-1, tons of gold being funneled into Jackie Love's pockets, it still feels like a really good position on this map state for FlyQuest.
Yes, but definitely need to keep it together. Cannot afford any more small mistakes. Because at this point, the gold is starting to even out. And as much as those Drakes are going to help, you're still hoping to play around Soul Point. You're hoping to maybe utilize this Gnar and all of his glorious ultimate power, especially as Solo gets closer to level 11 to lock down TES, to find that big combo to close out a fight.
I feel like Solo's job is just going to be as obnoxious as possible.
Yep. Yeah.
He's actually building a slow push here. The minions will focus fire. See if they remain focus fired. Yep, so it will slowly push away from him and build up.
And as the second wave crashes, it'll be a little bit more rapid, and we'll see what Knight does. Of course, has both the ultimate and the teleport available, so can't be anywhere that he needs to. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, waiting for FlyQuest to find another opportunity to make plays. I like what we're seeing on the mini-map, not so much on your screen, but on the mini-map you are seeing Ignar and Wild Turtle push in and lay down a little bit of deep vision. Of course, when you have a Blitzcrank on your team, breaking mid lane tier 1 tower is hugely important because it sets you up for some nasty picks just like this. Sidestep there, though. And that one is going to get stolen away. So FlyQuest with a good setup, with a good idea, but not able to find the execution.
So what FlyQuest are doing right now, like you're talking about looking for picks, but they're basically playing off of their mid lane priority and then trying to chip down top tier tower. And they're doing a good job because since Solo is slow pushing this wave, it might actually time up where this wave builds up and crashes into bot tower or applies pressure where TES try to maybe pick him off bot side. As I say that, they're doing so now, which gives Turtle space to commit to the top tower. So you see Ash now steps forward since TES have shown on bottom side with multiple members, and he gets to shove this one down. So really good cross-map wave management there. And yeah, it sucks that Solo had to burn his flash, but ultimately Wild Turtle and FlyQuest continue to break open this map and try to accelerate the game.
And this is one of the difficulties of Summoner's Spellbook, is that obviously when you have a spell like Ignite and Flash, you have to be willing to burn one to get back to your original spell to teleport. In this case, 369 just has to get up there the old-fashioned way to try to contest that one. So it will be another tower taken out. FlyQuest for now holding on to a 2K gold lead, 2 Drakes as well. All things considered, looking pretty good in this game. Power of Evil scaling quite comfortably. You look at individual CS discrepancies, and they are certainly still favoring the side of FlyQuest.
Yeah, and now it's going to be how they problem solve breaking down this mid tower. Now, historically, how you do that is...
At landing that arrow. Oh, Jackie Love. Absolute MVP of dodgeball in his elementary school class. No doubt there after that one.
What I was about to say is you can throw multiple members into the lane and just start fishing with pieces of CC to force you away from it and chip it away. Or you hard push side lanes and then use the inside track of getting your numbers there first and start cheating in and potentially threatening a dive. But FlyQuest go for the kitchen sink method. They throw an arrow, they throw a swirling seed. I don't even know if the Blitzcrank hook came out before the camera got there, but they could have thrown that as well.
And at the end of the day, you get what you came for. Would have been nice to get Jackie Love as well, but happy to grab the tower in this instance. And of course, the arrow cooldown still relatively low. Will get lower as level 11 comes through. TES looking to make it a trade, though. Have opted to start up this Herald. Of course, second Herald never feels as good because you're not getting tower plates off of it, but a single one fight in a Herald like that can lead to 2 or 3 broken towers if you're in the optimum position.
And that's the question. Do you use it before the dragon fight or after the dragon fight? Because what the second Herald's going to give you is map control and map pressure. And if you use it before the dragon fight, it's obviously then trying to get priority or tempo elsewhere, where you're either trading the dragon for multiple towers or you're forcing FlyQuest to respond to it so you yourself can stop the dragon stack, which is what I think they'll do. Or you hold on to it, you go into the fight, you ace them, and then you place the Herald, and then it's even more devastating. So that's what we'll be tracking with with TES.
Yeah, the question is TES looking for the more likely, more practical example, or are they looking for the let's go all in, let's bet it all, and maybe we end up with a worthless Rift Herald, but if it goes in our favor, let's just build a monumental gold lead.
Checking in on itemization as we're setting up for this 26th third Dragon here. Reminder that it's a potential 23-minute soul for FlyQuest if they pick this one up. We have Reverie that's completed for Ignar, so watch how that is used to gap close and try to get back onto Jackie Love.
Right now, TES fighting into enemy territory. They have so many control wards just to make sure that they can get in the area, but it is eyes on Ignar. He's holding, though. He's waiting. Has to be patient here. He hooks Karsa. It's a good look. He hooks 369. This fight could be over in an instant. Got very tanky. Power of Evil, of course, as well as Santorin are going to do good damage to him, but not going to burst him enough to take him out of the fight.
Look at the mid wave.
Oh, going over the wall. He's going to get locked up. It looks like they might just have enough damage. Now 369 trying to sidestep, trying to make it out of this one, but they're not able to take him out quite yet. They burnt literally everything on the Urgot, but it looks like it was the right choice. Now they're going to have to concede a tower here from the side of FlyQuest, but in the meantime, they should be able to take down this third Drake uncontested. A good pick from FlyQuest.
Really nicely done from FlyQuest. Again, a lot of patience, especially around Santorin and Ignar. Woo! Santorin securing the dragon right there. Ultimately, it was Ignar's hook, but Santorin also had really good position with the Lilia over the side, trying to fish again for swirling seeds. And also the fact that they just patiently sat and they looked at the dragon, they looked at the mid wave, and they said, the longer that TES sit here, the better it is for us because they're losing waves to mid lane tower. So us just standing still because of our wave state is actually advantageous for us, as well as now putting them up for soul point.
A very good situation to be in overall. When we look at this composition from the side of FlyQuest, they're in a position where now that they've built a lead, as long as they don't walk blind into Fog of War, it's a pretty good composition to play out. You've got pick potential with the Ashe and the Lilia, both of which also bring some pretty solid team fight power. Pick potential for the Blitzcrank, which when you're behind feels useless, but when you're ahead like this, you are able to blow up the tankier members like 369. And for the side of TES, you can see that they don't really get to start fights on their terms. They kind of have to wait for FlyQuest to start it for them.
Solo finds with the boomerang that someone is in that brush. Ignar says, why not? And goes ahead and pulls Urgot to his death now. 2-for-1 special.
Look, I said that they might not be able to kill 369. They obviously wanted to prove me wrong. That's 2 in a row. FlyQuest finding the picks that they need to. Now it's 1955. Baron will spawn in about 2 seconds now. They could just go for the coin flip here, and they are certainly favored if they do so. But they're not going to risk it. Instead, focusing on pushing out here. And Lilia still has the sleep up and available, so if they can catch out Karsa, they could look to find an uncontested Baron.
And now, I personally have gone for the Baron, but I understand FlyQuest's reasoning right now. Like you said, they already have a lead. They already have a win condition in that Soul, an Ocean Soul to cap it all off. So might as well just take the free reset. We'll see what happens, though, while TES have first move onto the map. You can see they already walk into Topside River. They've now placed defensive vision around the Baron, so it does get a little bit harder. At this point, FlyQuest are going to be using those pick tools that you talked about, Dracos, you know, throwing arrows. They should have priority over contesting mid-wave because they do have things like an Asher and a Blitzcrank just sprinting at you. And Jakulev, even though he has Flash, needs to be much more careful. He can't be as far down the lane as Wild Turtle and Ignar will feel free to be. So that means he's going to have to wait till the wave gets shoved into him before he can test it, meaning that FlyQuest should have first movement in both sides of River for the rest of this game.
Which is extremely powerful, especially because we're now coming up onto the point where TES might be put in a tough decision. Now, of course, FlyQuest can find a pick and take an objective cleanly, not risk any kind of 50-50, just want to fight straight out. But even if they go for it, they put themselves in a 50-50 situation, there's always a chance that they can just force TES to choose. Do you contest the Dragon? Do you contest the Baron? And while TES are certainly an accomplished team, they're going to need Jakulev to bring in that clutch, in-the-moment shot calling to make the right decision, because if they don't, we've seen so many teams fall apart in this decision-making process.
The issue is that FlyQuest have put top esports on a timer. You know, the Soul is going to come out, and Jakulev went for a very expensive build. You are now in the Power Trough for Caitlyn. This is the traditional build outside of the Storm Razors, so going for that Infinity Edge. So they need to funnel in way more gold for Jakulev before TES actually have a strong enough composition, I think, to actually 5v5 FlyQuest.
Yeah, and the good news now is that 369 is back to the TP. He cycled through enough spells. Had clarity there for a moment. A long time since I've seen that one. But now we'll have the TP to join the fight. Knight's TP is not too far off. 1 minute and 40, of course, until that Ocean Drake spawns. And for now, we're chilling. We're taking a break. Everybody knows round 3, round 4 about to start in a few minutes. So grab your popcorn, grab your drinks. This is the time. For now, it's about farming. It's about laying down vision. It's about using your pressure to set you up for success in the long run. Or if you're Ignar, it's about hiding in the darkness with your big robot fist, looking for an opportunity to grab that Caitlyn.
I don't know who was hunting who, though. Jakulev set down the ward and just immediately stepped forward, and Ignar was like, ooh, okay.
It's the bluff. She lays down the ward, you're like, do it. Then she autos you, she's like, I'm kidding, there's no one else here, leave me alone.
Please, officer, please. Oh. Dragon going to be spawning in 1 minute. Like you said, we're just going to be in a lull state, farming till then. This is kind of the make or break or do and die situation for TES. My personal opinion is that this is FlyQuest's game to lose from this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly with a 3K gold advantage and 3 Drakes up, they are in control. They get to dictate the pace of the game. It's really TES who has to respond to them. And while TES have certainly fought back to a certain degree, finding the 4 kills that they have, it has not been enough to put them in control. Now all it really takes from FlyQuest is a single arrow, a single hook at the right time or in the right place to grab this Ocean Soul and set themselves up really just to end the game as now the TP is coming in.
Yeah, and TES recognize kind of the stakes here of this fight. You know, pulling 369 in, they're sitting in the river. FlyQuest very smartly like, okay, you can sit in there. We're going to shove the wave, so we're going to make you choose. You're going to lose something here.
Play this one slow, though. Have to still be careful. Jakulev doing a good amount of poke damage to kick the fight off to Power of Evil.
Look at Knight, trying to set up for a flank. If he can get a massive CC taunt, that obviously would be ideal for top esports fans. But FlyQuest, again, just need to play this one slow, pick their target perfectly, because, again, they shoved in that mid-wave. They're denying TES farm on the tower. Okay.
Knight's still on the flank.
TES are going to wait out solo on his Meganar form, and then they're probably going to step back in and try to contest here. So the Fury Bar is going to be really important management for this fight.
Yeah, and of course, I believe 15-second cooldown until you can get Rage again. So they have this window of about 30 seconds, let's say, give or take, where they know that the Gnarl will not come to bear. The question is, can they fight anyway? They poked Jakulev, they maybe just kicked it off, but that's Knight on the backside looking for the taunt. Wild Turtle now locked out, but who's going to get it in the end? It looks like the Ocean Soul has been secured by Karsa. FlyQuest now running for the hills, but they'll find 2 kills off the back of that. TES may have saved themselves from an Ocean Soul, but it still looks like they're going to lose the fight. The scoop back in! Wild Turtle Turtle says, give me another! And that's looking like a triple as it comes through in the end. Clean fight from Fly.
And that should be the Baron. FlyQuest is going to feel so confident to walk across the mid lane, to pick up the Baron. Yeah, they didn't get the Ocean Soul, but they got more than what they came here for, and they'll be able to set up for that again and again because their composition still scales so wonderfully.
And that's the thing. As good as it was for the side of TES to secure the Ocean Drake, it does to a certain degree right now feel like they're delaying the inevitable because now it's a 5K gold lead. That's going to grow again when this Baron drops and all that extra money goes into FlyQuest's pocket. And now they have to survive the siege of the Ashe, Lilia, Gnar, Blitzcrank, Azir, and those are not easy champions to survive against.
Taking another look at this one, I do want to give out credit to Solo. As soon as he saw that Knight was coming in, he tried to immediately jump onto the Galio. You actually can't see it on the top of your screen. Knight does ultimately get into the back line, but it allows enough time for Wild Turtle to reposition. He's got Solo in front of him as well as Ignar, and then they just allow their AD carry to push through. JackeyLove at this point, just trying to go hero mode. Can't get it done as Power Lethal has moved all the way around the pit and then finds him, tosses him back into the team, and just really wonderfully played, I think, from minute one from FlyQuest.
This is a fantastic game from FlyQuest. And as said before, there were a few hiccups, but I was skeptical when I saw that Gnar pick locked in for Solo, but it did well. This feels like the first time that Solo has not only weathered the storm, but also flourished in these fights. And now finally, we get to see Ignar, Wild Turtle bring all of that power to bear for 369. He is slowly going to get chipped away here. They have to be careful, though. They're using the sleep a little bit early, knowing that they can't fully commit to the Urgot quite yet without anyone else there to do damage. But that's big damage coming in from JackeyLove. Luxalt to follow. Will get sidestepped. But obviously, FlyQuest still need to be careful. The damage is there for TES. The setup, not so much. But if Fly walk into the wrong part of the map, they will get popped off on.
Yeah, multiple crits coming out of JackeyLove, just taking chunks out of Wild Turtle. You can tell that top esports do have some teeth in their bite right now, but still, FlyQuest should just play the map with this Baron buff, continue to snowball their own gold lead, closing in on 10K now.
How much longer before they're gumming it, Frosco? How much longer before it's dentures left for TES?
I'm going to say Power Evil or Ignar just gets one good punch.
That's it. How many teeth can Ignar knock out with this one? Now, the good news is Karsa has that Edge of Night. Early lethality purchase certainly going to help him out a lot, as well as stop this hook from really being a massive threat. Solo on the bottom side. He is just the chauffeur for this minion wave. He's just driving it in. He's just poking down, but he knows his only job is to protect this cannon minion because there's another point of pressure in the mid lane as well. And I already have access to the tower. Wild Turtle laying down a bit of poke as well. You can see it's all about just weaving in and out, trying to get free autos without giving anything up here from the side of FlyQuest. Now, they do have Mega Gnar on the bottom side. If they wanted to pull the trigger, here is a good opportunity. And as stated before, once it fades away, it will be a small window before they can try to activate that one again.
I mean, I think at this point they're just trying to get as much chip damage as possible with Ignar kind of fishing for a hook. If he gets a good one, that's obviously going to feel really nice, but FlyQuest should be sitting on a bunch of gold because of the towers that they've taken. So I don't think they're going to try to force their hand too hard here. If they go wrong, they would give a lot of shutdowns over.
Big arrow, Mikhail's fall out.
Oh, deep teleport.
This flank could be massive. Keep in mind, it's a low health bar for JackeyLove, so they're going to have to play this one out a little bit slowly.
JackeyLove has reset his position. Knight has flanked. FlyQuest have spotted him out, and now Knight actually might be in trouble.
Oh, hawk shot. They're retreating.
He needs to use his Galio ultimate reposition.
Alt to poke.
He's just going to walk around.
That was not the heroic TP flank that they were looking for, but you can see how much FlyQuest have TES on the ropes because that Galio TP play might have been the only way they could get a clean fight started off in their favor. And it's a minute until the next Ocean's Dragon. And when you're on Soul Point, they have to come and fight you. And right now, FlyQuest, they've played well, they've played so good, but they might not need to in this last fight. They might just be able to beat TES down with their wallets, with all of these itemization advantages you see across just about every character on the side of Fly.
Yeah, and it's not even just the wallet, it's the map pressure that they can have. You know, they have super creeps that come in through the mid lane. FlyQuest can play the same move that they did last time, which is hard shove the mid lane wave, allow that to funnel in, and then just stand at the dragon and wait and say, TES, you know, are you going to come at us? Because you got to take care of your base.
Ooh. Flip it. Flip it for the NA fans, because that's NA hope right now. You might be knocked out, but you can go out looking good after a game like this against TES. Arrow going to connect on 369. They're going to pull him back to the middle of the team. The follow-up is there, but they can't quite get it done. Carson now leaping into everyone. Wild Turtle going to be isolated, taunted off to the side. That's going to be massive. Maybe, just maybe they can turn it back. But Fly say no, not today. Chasing him down. Solo, bobbing, weaving, moving forward in the fight is Power of Evil. Looks for another opportunity to throw a few more autos down, but they've killed Wild Turtle, but not Santorin, and that means Cloud, or Ocean rather. An easy pickup here for Fly. That's going to be Ocean Soul, and while TES is starting to throw a few more punches, Fly still coming out on top.
Yeah, it's just the shutdown bonus. I believe it was Knight who got the shutdown as well. So on the Galio, I'm going to say not going to make that big of a difference here as we take another look at it. I was just going to talk about, you know, the strength that Ignar and Wild Turtle will have right now because 369 is so vulnerable. Now, as soon as 369 is caught, Knight immediately sprints into the backline, forces the flash out of Wild Turtle, so maybe they capitalize on that because he is much more vulnerable now, but picks up that 1,000 gold bounty, but still only sitting on 2 items.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, now there's the QSS to contend with as well. Blitzcrank building towards a Righteous Glory, and of course, Ocean Soul. So if you're hoping that your kind of low damage Galio at this point in the game was going to burst through Wild Turtle, you're probably in a tough position.
And I like the sentiment that Yamato brought on the analyst desk the other day about Galio and, you know, some of the incredible mid laners that we have on this tournament, and that it kind of masks your strength. You know, you don't get to shine as bright on the Galio as you would other champions, and you know, I'm kind of tired of teams picking it.
You know, the list of mid laners that have played Galio and the list of mid laners I never want to see play Galio are almost the same list.
It's a circle.
Chovy, Showmaker, Knight. And look, I'm not going to knock TS's draft. Like, clearly they had some good plans. Now, FlyQuest plans looking like they were a little bit better, but it does feel like TES have hampered themselves a little bit by not putting one of their star players on a champion with a little bit more agency in this game.
But right now, FlyQuest looking for perhaps the kill shot, as they have Ocean Soul, they have Scuttle Crab, and they are now on the Baron.
This should be the FlyQuest victory lap. 7K up. Absolute control. They're going to grab another Baron. Luxalt. A sad attempt at a steal there, but we might as well try it. The cooldown's going to be low enough at this point in the game. Now it's 3 items for Jackie Love, so maybe, just maybe, TES, 3.5 rather, can try and find a fight, but pushing in on the top side is FlyQuest, and with 5 members strong, they look all but unstoppable here in this game versus TES.
So what you're looking for is, again, Ignar is going to be fishing for a lot of these hooks, whereas where's the desperation going to come out of TES? Are they going to decide to sack 2 inhibitors before they mount their final stand? The rage bar is full, so engaging now would be quite dangerous.
Still a good little bit of poke. Obviously, the frustration of sieging against a Caitlyn is you can do what you can to protect that. But oh, there goes Carson. We were waiting, and they found it. That's 1 hook, and that might be all it takes. Clearing out the waves, though. TES are still holding on. Not afraid because they lost a single member. Bot lane inhibitor is exposed. Solo can start to zoom down there as the next wave will crash in the top lane. Ignar with a Hex Flash over the bush, but it's 369 in the middle of the entire team. He goes golden, and now Knight's in the midst of the backline. Santana pulled in and snared by the trap. It's clean play, but it's not nearly enough because it's Solo on the backside. Solo looking for redemption, and TES getting torn to pieces. FlyQuest, where were you in week 1? You might have showed up, and it certainly looked good. Here it is, FlyQuest taking down TES. What a sight to behold.
And what they couldn't do against DRX, they do manage to do against TES. So North America sends its regards.
And that's what we talk about. Anytime teams are out,